The mythical father that we're talking about here, don't forget, this is the father of everyone else's castration as well. This is the father of the unary stroke. This is, in short, the father of the no, of prohibition. First as the no of the father, then as the name of the father. This is that motherfucker. This is the motherfucker we're talking about. And let me be clear and let me be literal. This is the motherfucker. All he does all day long apparently is fuck all the mommies. This bit about him as the keeper of the no. This bit about the father of the primal horde as the one who's responsible, the agent of everyone else's castration in this myth, is absolutely key to what's happening here. In order for any totalizing complete set of everything to hold together, you've heard me say, hear all men, nothing must be left out. Nothing must be excluded from its count of everything. I don't think I'll ever tire of saying that. The father, whose escape from the phallic function, as represented in the second formula we just considered, the father whose escape from the phallic function structures, conditions, and guarantees all men's subjection to the phallic function is just that, a figure of nothing relative to social order. This father, the father of the primal horde, is nothing but a signal and source of a no thing, of prohibition, of the phallic function itself. That's why this is such a great move that Lacan is making here. The one who is ejected from or excluded, if you like that, that's a better Latin working there around exclusion, the kind of cutting out. The one who is cut out from the set of everything. And by the way, this is also the one that guarantees that the set remains incomplete, that never actually can perform its function because one is always left out. This is partly why the one is so important to what Lacan is getting into in his later thought, is that this one that has to be excluded from the totalizing set of everyone is proof that the totalizing set of everyone, like the big other, is barred, is lacking, because there's always one that doesn't fit, that has to be kicked out in order for the totalization to occur in a valid way. It's a logical game that he's working. And once your brain wraps around that logic, all of his thinking along these lines just falls right into place. This is how he is thinking. Logics of meta-language, the big other, the real father, here the father of the primal horde, as mythologized. The father who escapes the phallic function, the same father who structures, conditions, and guarantees all men's subjection to that phallic function, this is the same father who stands as nothing and pronounces that no thing, inaugurating the castrative logic to which everyone except him is somehow subject. Now, when we add all of this up, when we stack these two formulas atop each other, and here I'm kind of anticipating a little bit of where Lacan's going, but still remaining squarely in Chapter 8. When we stack up these two formulas for masculine subjectivities, as Lacan will go on to do, we arrive at a summative statement about masculine identities, at least what I believe to be a summative statement. You can disagree with me and we'll chop it up, but I read this as a fairly summative statement of what Lacan means by man, how he understands masculine subjectivities here in 1970. Bear in mind, I'm not delivering a lecture here on Seminar 20. This is a lecture on Seminar 18. Here's how I read this. It's simple. All men except one are defined by the phallic function. All men except one are castrated. That's how we read these two formulas when you stack them on top of each other. All men are subject to the phallic function except one man who is not subject to the phallic function. That's what you read in these two formulas. which means that there's always someone beyond phallic surplus jouissance for men. And this is a key point. For men, there's always someone, some other man who is not subject to the castrative logics that the rest of us are. The big daddy, the big dog, the mythical father of the primal horde who just, it's a ridiculous image, enjoying all the women exclusively. It's just hilarious in some way. The idea here is that if all men except one are defined by the phallic function, that means that one man in particular has escaped castration. It means that there's someone beyond phallic surplus jouissance that men are constantly dreaming about. I think that's a very important part of this. Men fantasize about other men. Straight men, ostensibly, fantasize about this other man who enjoys without limitation, who is not castrated, who fucks all the women. You could see how this kind of heteronormative, hyper straight, yet thoroughly homoerotic fantasy would play out. Just look at most pornography of the hetero stripe and you'll see this shit playing out. Because for men, there's always somebody beyond the limited castrated form of jouissance, the member or part enjoyment, the organ enjoyment that men are subjected to. Here, this person is figured as the mythical, phantasmatic, existent, ecstatic, dick-swinging, long, bald father of the primal horde. You can figure this however you want. But this is one of the fundamental fantasies that you see popping in masculinized subjectivities for Lacan. It's the fantasy that there's always somebody who has escaped castration. And then the question becomes, how close can I approximate that? How can I get as close as possible to enjoying all the women? And you can kind of spin it out from there. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Again, because we're just sticking with what Lacan is up to in Chapter 8 of Seminar 18. But I want to start putting us on the path of masculinity as he understands it and the fantasies contained therein.